Ahoy cypherpunks and welcome back to Building the Open Source Odyssey website, episode 17. In today's episode, I want to install yet another quality of life feature that I recently came across in my own Open Source Odyssey journey, which is the linter Perfectionist for eslint. And basically what this is an opinionated rule set that you can just use with a one-line expression more or less in your eslint config that will do a lot in your code base. And it's very opinionated. So basically, for me, what I noticed first is that it cares about alphabetic sorting on imports, on object key declaration, and so on and so forth. And when I first noticed that it was throwing errors actually when I didn't do it, it was very bothersome. And I didn't like it at all. And then I realized, hey, there's one simple command that I can use in my IDE to fix all of these errors automatically. Or you could also run eslint from the terminal to fix them automatically. And then it's actually very nice because you don't have to fix these errors yourself. And Perfectionist, this plugin for eslint, takes care for a consistent look and feel of your code base. If that sounds good to you, then just follow along and I'll show you how to install and set up Perfectionist in your PayloadCMS website template. Fortunately for us, Perfectionist has great documentation. For example, in the Getting Started guide, we can see what we have to install to get it running. For our cases, since we already have eslint in the payload dependencies, we just need to install the Perfectionist plugin. Then we can choose one of the pre-configurations of Perfectionist. For my purposes, I really like the natural one. So here on the documentation page for the recommended natural, we can see how we need to configure our eslint config to make it work. And I'm using the flat configs. In the eslint config MJS, we import Perfectionist from eslint plugin Perfectionist. And then in our eslint config, we simply add Perfectionist configs recommended natural to our exported array. And since payload generates two files in our project, we should exclude them from the actual eslint configuration. Otherwise, we will constantly rewrite these files and apply our rules to them, which we actually don't really care about. We don't go visit these files anyhow. So these are the import map for the components in the admin, as well as the payload types. Now we are all set up and configured to flex our newly found muscles. And we will do this by refactoring the entire codebase with the new eslint rules. Presumably there are many files that we now need to change, and you can check this by running pnpm lint, and this will output all of the eslint errors that were encountered in your codebase. So now you could go through and visit these files one by one, try to fix these errors, but there is a much easier and simpler way to do this. And simply by running from the terminal, pnpm lint fix will basically take care of all of these issues automatically. There you have it. That's all for this video. Perfectionist is the eslint tool that I nowadays use to keep my code bases look consistent and nice. And if you find this interesting, you can just give it a try by installing it in your eslint config the way I showed you. If you enjoyed this type of content, make sure to subscribe to my channel and like the video, maybe even leave a comment for my motivational purposes, and then I will see you in the next one. Onwards, cypherpunks.